You've been robbed. Not of money, not of time, of authority. Because every day the same thing happens. A voice wakes up before you do. It starts talking before your feet even hit the floor. It narrates your life like it owns you. And the craziest part, you never stop to ask the most dangerous question on earth. Do you choose your thoughts or do they choose you? Right now, answer honestly. Did you decide the thought before it showed up, or did it just appear like a pop-up ad in your own mind? Because if thoughts simply show up, then what you've been calling me might just be a hijacked signal. And once you see this clearly, the relationship you have with reality, money, love, confidence, fear, destiny starts to change. Not gradually, instantly. From the moment you wake up, the inner conversation begins. A narrator, a commentator, a judge, a strategist is there when you're brushing your teeth, driving, scrolling, trying to sleep. It tells you who you are, what you're capable of, what you should fear, what you should expect. And because it's been with you for so long, you assume, without proof, that this voice is you. So when it says, you're not going to make it, your body obeys. Chest tightens, energy drops, vision narrows. When it whispers, something bad is going to happen, anxiety floods your bloodstream like a toxin. And now, you're not living life. You're reacting to a stream of thoughts you never asked to have. That fusion between you and the thought stream might be the most invisible prison on earth. People become hostages of a script they didn't write, while believing they're the author. Let's do something simple. Think about the last thought you had before this one. Any thought, doesn't matter. Now, be honest. Did you consciously decide to think it before it appeared? Was there a moment where you said, okay, now I'm going to worry about that bill. Now I'm going to replay that argument from yesterday. Now I'm going to imagine the worst case scenario. No, the thought didn't ask permission. It just arrived. And here's where it gets darker. You become aware of the thought after it's already been processed. In other words, you're not the original generator of your thoughts. You're the place where they are displayed. And the moment a thought appears, most people do the same thing. They grab it. They merge with it. They say, that's me. Fear thought, I'm a fearful person. Anger thought, I'm an angry person. Self-criticism, that's the truth about me. And just like that, the prison builds itself, brick by brick, thought by thought. Try this. For the next few seconds, don't think about anything, nothing. Just observe your mind and refuse every thought entry. Go. What happened? Even with the clear intention to stop, thoughts kept showing up. A memory, an image, a random word, a plan, a worry, a song lyric, a notification you haven't even received yet. They ignored you. That experience proves something most people spend their whole life denying. Thought is autonomous. It runs like you're breathing, like your heartbeat. You don't control it, you witness it, which means this becomes the most important distinction you'll ever make. You are not the thinker of thoughts. You are the awareness in which thoughts appear, clouds moving through a sky that never gets harmed by weather. But now, the real question hits. If thoughts don't come from you, where do they come from? There are two layers to the machine, a personal layer and a collective layer. Both operate behind your perception like invisible software. 1, your personal programming. Your brain isn't a creator. It's a survival-based prediction machine. It uses the past as an instruction manual for the future. It's energy efficient. It hates uncertainty. So it builds neural trails, deep pathways, based on what you repeatedly lived, feared, or concluded. Recurring thoughts aren't wisdom. They're mental traffic, following old roads. That's why before a difficult conversation, you suddenly feel anxiety. and imagine it going wrong. That isn't you evaluating the present. That's your nervous system playing an old movie on repeat. So here's a test. Pick a negative thought pattern you deal with. Money, relationships, confidence, anything. Now trace it backwards. Where did you first learn this feeling? School? Family? A past relationship? A humiliating moment? Doesn't have to be exact. The point isn't to relive pain. The point is to recognize today's thought is often a ghost of an old experience, not a truth about now. 2, the collective thought field. This part is even more subtle. Your mind doesn't just produce thoughts, it also absorbs them. Culture, media, social pressure, fear cycles, opinions disguised as facts, the mood of your friends, the stress of the economy, the energy in a room. Just like your body breathes air, your mind unconsciously breathes collective thought. And because those thoughts come in without a label, you assume they're yours. Abstract fear becomes personal fear. You absorb instability, and your mind translates it into, what if I lose my job? Collective noise finds a personal neural trail to travel through, so next time a strong worry appears, pause and ask, is this from my direct experience right now? Is this an old recording from my past? Or did I absorb it from the atmosphere, news, social media, conversations, general energy? That question alone weakens the spell, because the thought stops being truth and becomes what it always was, information passing through. Now, we enter the part that changes the game. Disidentifying from thoughts isn't just for calm. It changes the signal you transmit into the field of life. Think of your body, nervous system, heart, breath, as a broadcasting tower. When you're fused with fear, thoughts, worry thoughts, self-criticism, your system becomes incoherent, chaotic signal, fragmented frequency, transmission of danger, lack, problem. And that signal becomes your filter. You interpret people through suspicion. You make reactive decisions. You see limitations everywhere. But when you step back and observe thoughts without becoming them, you move from turbulence into stillness. And the observer has a different quality, neutral, stable, clear. When attention rests there, your nervous system begins to regulate, your signal changes, not to positive, to coherent, order, presence, clarity. And reality responds to coherence far more than it responds to words. That's why positive thinking fails. You can repeat, I am prosperous. But if your deeper identity is fused with fear and lack, the dominant broadcast is scarcity. Reality responds to the strongest signal, not the surface level intention. When your signal becomes coherent, your perception opens. You notice opportunities that were always there. You catch synchronicities you used to miss. People feel your presence and respond differently. Solutions appear because your mind isn't jammed with noise. You're not changing reality with your mind. You're changing your point of interaction with reality. Reality doesn't understand your affirmations, but it perfectly reads the energetic signature of your consciousness. Take the belief, it's hard to make money. When you identify with it, your frequency becomes scarcity, not magic, a filter. You become blind to what doesn't match the story. You miss openings, you hesitate. Your energy in negotiations feels needy, and the other side pulls back. Micro decisions stack up until the belief looks proven. Self-fulfilling prophecy, powered by the signal you emit when you merge with a thought. Now watch the alternate timeline. The thought appears, and you observe it as old programming. You don't fuse, you stay coherent. And from coherence, you see the world without the scarcity lens. You negotiate with calm. You move with clarity. You notice openings you previously couldn't even perceive. same world, different signal, different outcome. Here's a simple practice, small, but lethal to the old identity. Throughout the day, take 1 minute pauses, not your ideas, not your plans, the sense of awareness itself, the silent space where thoughts appear. Don't try to stop thoughts. Just shift attention from content to the space that holds everything. This trains your system to return to coherence, your natural baseline. At first it feels subtle, but repetition reveals the truth. That space is always there, behind every storm. Here's the real issue. Your identity wasn't born with you. It was built, piece by piece, out of the thoughts that repeated the most, especially during emotional moments. I am anxious. I'm not good with money. I always mess things up. I can't trust people. At first, those were thoughts, but repetition hardened them into identity. Like a program that ran so long, you confused it for the operating system. That identity lives in reaction, always seeking something outside to feel safe, always in defense mode. But the identity that emerges when you disidentify from thoughts is consciousness itself. It doesn't need outside validation to exist. It's stable, calm, coherent, like deep silence behind all sound. Picture an important presentation, career-level stakes. If you operate from thought identity, you enter the room already defensive. What if I forget? They'll see I'm not enough. I can't mess up. Body obeys, heart races, hands sweat, breath gets shallow. You transmit fear, and your performance reflects it. Shaky voice, hesitation, mental blank. Then reality confirms the belief, I'm not good enough. Now the alternate, same room, same people, but you've practiced disidentification. I'm nervous still appears, but you don't fuse. You remain as the awareness that observes. Breath steady, nervous system coherent, you transmit presence, and now you speak clean, firm, sharp, even improvising with confidence. Not because you fought thoughts, but because your identity moved from the mind's content to the consciousness that holds it. If you want structure, here's the protocol. 1. Inventory. Write the core, I am our always beliefs, especially limiting ones. No judgment, just list them. 2. Investigation. Where did each belief come from? Is it 100% true in all situations? No exceptions? You'll see it's usually a generalization from the past. 3. Recognition. This is the turning point. When I am anxious is seen as a repeated thought, ask, who is aware of this thought? And instantly, attention shifts to awareness. 4. Embodiment. Throughout the day, when old identity thoughts appear, recognize them as echoes and return to presence. You don't lose your personality, you free it. Your humor, gifts, confidence, everything becomes more real because it's no longer suffocated by fear-based programming. To keep this from being an interesting idea, you need a daily anchor. 5 minutes in the morning. Before your phone, before the world hijacks you, recognize consciousness. Feel the silent presence behind thought. Allow thoughts to arise, but watch them like clouds. Don't grab them. Scan the body. Notice tension, lightness, sensation without judgment. Pre-visualize your day from presence. Not fear, not obligation. Just the intention to carry coherence into each task and conversation. You're not fixing something broken. You're remembering who you are. And that remembrance strengthens the muscle of disidentification. Let me make one thing clear. This isn't a promise that you'll never have negative thoughts again. You will. Storms will come, bad days will come, fear will knock, but they won't have the power to define you because you'll recognize them as weather, and you'll stop confusing weather for the sky. The real shift isn't gradual. It happens the moment you see the distinction, the thought, and the awareness that perceives it. All the power for this transformation is already in you. Not in a book, not in a secret technique, not in a guru. It's in your ability to notice, to question the voice, to return again and again to the silent space behind the noise. You spent your whole life thinking you were a character trapped inside a story written by random thoughts. But now, you know something they never wanted you to realize. You are the space where the entire story unfolds. The goal was never to silence the voice in your head. It was to recognize the silence from which you hear it. So tell me in the comments, what's one thought you carried for years that you can finally see as just an echo and not your truth?